Welcome to the Freedive Cafe, episode 147 with Khaled ELGammal. My name is Donny. I'm the host of the Freedive Cafe. The Freedive Cafe is the long-form interview podcast that explores the backstories, the training, the challenges, and the combined wisdom and personal philosophies of the world's freedivers. You can find this podcast at freedivecafe.com, on my main website at freediveandthrive.com, and of course you can find it on all good podcast players. This episode is also available as a video version on YouTube at the Freedive and Thrive YouTube channel, so you can see us having this chat, and also we overlay some nice videos that we got when Khaled and I dived together before we did the interview. Follow me on Instagram at Freedive and Thrive to stay up to date with everything I'm doing and all the podcast releases.
Now I'm starting to feel nervous.
Now it's your turn.
Now that you get everything said, I was like, oh my god, it's happening again.
We've now entered my arena.
Oh, damn.
I'm in control, finally. Yeah, so Khaled, nice to meet you again and again.
My pleasure.
Yeah, this is our second attempt at a full Freedive Cafe interview. We lost the first one. We almost didn't get this one started with the array of things that I forgot and
just logistics. It's
a little bit of logistical stuff. Yeah. So yeah, good to see you again on my second trip in Dahab and
permanent one.
Permanent, yes.
Yeah.
Well, inshallah, we'll see what happens. You can't bet on anything in this country, that's for sure.
True. And life in general.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes. Here even more so.
Even
exceptionally more so. Yes. You just came back from. We'll just catch up a little bit with what you've been doing recently. You just came back from Kuwait, where you were at the World Championships. Was that the first time that you were doing safety for the competitors, right?
In the pool, yes, I've done safety before in deep competitions, but for the pool, that was the first time. But it was actually a very, very nice experience. Like I was mainly going there for the exposure. Like I wanted to see how things work, how they manage the competitions, how the athletes prepare for the dives. So when I got contacted to join the safety team, I actually thought it was a great opportunity, and that's the main reason why I went.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, and just while we're here, just a blatant little plug for Jordy, my colleague on the news dispatch of the Freedive Cafe. She's going to be going to Jeju in about a week to attend the World Championships representing Australia. So hope you have a good one, Jordy. Love you, and yeah, dive safe.
Good luck. The AIDA one, right?
AIDA one, yes. Yeah. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your background, like where you came from. Obviously, you're Egyptian, but like what kind of life you came from, because you came from a different lifestyle, I guess you could say, before you found your way into freediving. So what did you do before, and what was the process of becoming a freediver?
So my story is a very unique story, like you never heard before, especially here in Dahab. Like I come from a corporate job like everyone else. I had like 13 years work in corporate job in an oil and gas. I'm a mechanical engineer. But I've always had this freediving as a hobby. Like I didn't even know about freediving as a sport. Like I used to just practice it as part of a hobby. Like I used to call it snorkeling even. Mm-hmm. And then
where are you from in Egypt actually?
Cairo.
From Cairo.
Yeah.
So did you have access to water when you were growing up?
Yes, like here, we have the Mediterranean, the Red Sea. Like all the holidays, we would always go to the beach. And in Cairo, like I have access to the pool, so I used to be a competitive swimmer as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. I forget that. Yeah.
So corporate job for 13 years, and then the second I realized like I'm done with that, I just quit, and without any plans, and just found myself like in Sinai here in Egypt, and I just wanted to spend a couple of weeks off. And then when I stopped in Dahab and I realized, my God, I used to love this freediving thing and never had the time to progress. So I'll finish my 2 weeks off first, and then I'll stay in Dahab and do like 1 or 2 courses. And here I am, 4 years later.
Instructor trainer.
Instructor trainer,
And also national record holder for Egypt. 100-meter diver or more.
100 at the moment,
100?
Yeah.
Good, you just...
I'm just starting.
There, yeah.
I'm just starting.
I believe in 5-meter increments. None of this 103 nonsense.
Exactly. If you do 100, you can do 105. Yeah.
Of course, So you came to Dahab, you ended up staying, you did your courses, and then how did you sort of find your way into the deep diving and the competitive scene? Like, when did you realize that freediving could be a sport in a sort of high athletic sense?
Okay, so after I moved here by like 3-4 months, and I got my certification as an instructor, COVID happened, and like all the freediving centers, they shut down. So I was kind of having all the time in the world to train. And my training buddies back then was David Mellor and Dave McGoo. We used to train all the time together. And I started like progressing, and I started basically making all the national records in training. But back then I was totally against competition. Like, it wasn't something that I was targeting at all.
When you say you were against it, do you mean that you had like some reason to dislike it? Or?
Yes, like when I was approaching freediving, I was just approaching sensations, and numbers was a result. It wasn't really something that I'm after. And I wanted to keep my approach to freediving the same way, and I didn't want to switch that to the mindset of just pushing numbers and that's it. And actually, Harry Chamas is the one who kind of like had this conversation with me, and he tried to convince me to do at least one competition. He asked me like, "What do you want from freediving?" And I wanted to be a good coach, and that was my main target back then. And he was like, "Okay, so would you like to coach athletes that they want to compete?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Like, I have a good background in competitions. I know I can do that." And he was like, "Don't you think that you need to have like one competition at least as an experience?" So I looked at it and was like,
That's a good point.
Makes sense. So yeah, I did. I said like, okay, I'm gonna do only one competition, and like, here you go, like 3 or 4 competitions after. But yeah, this is how it started.
When you did your first competition, like roughly how deep were you diving?
85.
Okay, so you're already diving like significantly deep when you did your first comp.
Yeah, but like I didn't do a PB dive in the comp. Like I did 85 in training, and then in the comp I just went for 80 because I didn't know how it's gonna feel like. I wanted just to be on safe side, doing something that I'm comfortable with, and I think that was a wise decision because like the circumstances on the first day, it was horrible. So I was happy to do that.
85 is quite deep. How was your progression towards 85? Was it like quite a linear and direct journey, or did you have a lot of ups and downs? Were there like periods where you had big changes that allowed you to go deeper, or has your progress been quite steady?
I would say it was quite steady because, again, remember when I told you I was training with the Daves, the dream team they used to call us here. Like I thought we learned together, or they used to coach me as well a lot because like they had more experience than me back then. And we were all, the 3 of us, we were progressing very, very linear. We were doing lots of repetitions. Like, come on, in COVID times here, nothing, like we have no clients and we have the sea, and we just had the time to train. So there was no rush. Nobody knew back then what's going to happen next. And we didn't know anything about competitions as well. So like basically we had a couple of years of just training. And it's not only in the water training. We used to go run together, like work out together. It was like a camp for 2 years. So.
Yeah, it's like the perfect environment, conducive to building up
exactly.
a few like good level free divers. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that's what raised a lot of awareness. Like I was mainly building awareness on what does that mean when I change this, what happens, and that what made my life easier after that. Even when I got coached, like it was easy to implement whatever I received because I already built the awareness. And I think building the awareness is the critical point here, is not just progressing in depth.
Yeah, 100%. And also the experience that you have of the whole process of getting deeper as well. Is it actually benefiting you like emotionally and, you know, in your life to go on that journey, and you're not just doing it for maybe more goal-oriented reasons, right?
Yeah. I'm glad that you don't remember what I told you about what got me to depth as well. because he said he had the same approach. Like I fell in love with free falling, and this is
the idea of extending the free fall is
exactly
not just possible to,
yes. This is like I remember the first time I free fall. It was like not planned. It wasn't really safe as well back then. But anyways, like the sensation that I got from free falling was something very, very nice and very new to me. So that was my main target. Like now, even till now, I'm just trying to extend my free falling.
Extend the experience of the dive. Yeah, beautiful. Tell us about your first 100-meter dive. Like, did you do it in competition or in training?
In competition.
Competition. Okay, so what was that experience like? I
was like a kid. Like I was waiting for the comp to come because I was so excited. Like I knew I want to do it. I knew I can do it. Like I did a previous dive right before the comp. I believe like a week or two before the comp was pretty deep enough that made me like had this confidence. Like I wasn't even doubting 1% that I can do it. And I even remember back then my coach was Gus. And I wanted to do my 100-meter dive on the first day of the comp, and he was like, "No, you're not gonna do it on the first day. It's gonna be the second day." I was like, "Why? I want to do it like on the first day." I was like, I'm eager, like I want to do it. And he said, "No, it's not a target. Like let's make it on second day. Let's make an easy dive on the first day," which is like 94 monofin wasn't that easy still, but I was just looking forward for it. 3 days before the comp, I remember we went to Sharm together and we did a trial dive to 90. Free immersion, and it felt super amazing. Like I knew 100% inside out that I was ready for it. But
did you make a jump from 90 to 100?
No. Just we didn't want to push before the comp 3 days, so we did the 90 meters. It was supposedly an easy dive. Like I did multiple dives to the bottom of the blue hole here before the comp, in multiple disciplines, so it was kind of easy to get to 100 relevantly. I mean,
yeah. Relatively easy. So you said that Gus Cravenas has been on the show. A big shout out to Gus, of course, a big figure in the freediving community here in Dahab and long-time friend of the podcast.
He's probably loud somewhere now.
Yeah, we could, if you listen carefully, if we turn up the
he's right there.
Turn up the levels, we can hear him. He really is right there. Yeah. So were you being coached formally by Gus, or was he just supporting you as a friend?
No, formally.
Formally,
yeah.
So
we trained together for about 2.5 or 3 months before the comp.
All right. Yeah. And like on a scale of like 1 to 10, with 10 being the most serious, how serious would you say the periodization and the structuring of the training was? And this is not meant to be like a review of Gus's training, but you know, we're curious to know if it was kind of breezy for you without too much effort to go to 100, or whether you
there was
really
a lot
very hard.
There was a lot of commitment, and it was pretty intense too. Like my life stopped. I was not doing anything except following the training program, and it was mainly 2 days on, 1 day off at the base training, and like I would say the first couple of months. And it just doesn't end in the water. Like we do lots of stretches, lots of dry exercises, lots of meditating, lots of breath holds. It was a full-on program, and I didn't miss one exercise or one workout or one session. It was a full commitment from both of us, and that was the result.
You're fully dedicated.
It was fully dedication from both of us again, like and his team as well. Like this whole full team was full on every day. It's a big operation happening in Touchdown team. Like shout out to Touchdown. Like they're really
they're amazing. We see them here every day.
Yeah.
They show up with their people and they have they do their thing, and it's you know, I respect watching them. They putting everything together and looking after everybody, and yeah, you can tell that there's
huge operation. Yeah,
big operation, but like with a big heart as well.
Yes,
Gus at the center, of course. But tell us a little bit more about the complementary training. You know, like specifically, what kind of strength work were you doing? What kind were you doing? Also, apnea out of the water, and flexibility-wise, like how deep did you go into that?
Well, on the strength workouts, I used to do it on my own with the Shark Fit. Like Shaza is my coach.
Shout out to Shark Fit, amazing gym here.
She's right there as well. We can see her now.
See her,
yeah. So Shaza is my coach in strength training, and we were working out on at least the main muscle groups and flexibility as well. And now I used to do flexibility stretches on my own as well in the old Touchdown facility. and that we used to do as well with the Gus flexibility. So I would say it was full on flexibility, breathing, stretches, and static breath holds. You asked specifically about static breath hold. It was almost every day static breath hold.
Really? So
Yeah.
So Gus programmed statics into your progression for the depth competition.
Yeah.
Can you maybe like describe a little bit what the idea behind that is?
It's just to get comfortable with the breath holds and get comfortable with the contractions. And we never used to do like maximum breath holds like we do. You don't really attempt to go to max out every time. And it's always about your meditation, your state of mind, and during breath holds as well. And with other technical exercises during breath hold as well. So it was pretty intense, and I think that the progress, the output was really, really on point.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Really on point,
Yeah.
And then when you're coming into the water, like what is your approach to a depth training session? Obviously it changes depending on what point of the year you're in. But are you kind of get in, one dive and out kind of thing, or do you do a lot of drills? Do you do a lot of high volume? And how does it work at different times?
At the very beginning, we used to do high volume, and towards right before the comp, it wasn't really a one dive. Like you do like a warm. I still do warm ups before the maximum attempts, so it was only one warm up, and then I would do the max dive. But Gus's approach is never leave the dive, leave the water after a deep dive. Like you have to do something after that.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, I was a bit, is that really the right thing to do? And then actually I got hooked to this, and it makes sense. Like,
so for example, like what kind of thing would you do? Like some drills after the
no drills. Sometimes he just leaves you the line, and we like do whatever you want. Just do one dive, anything you want, to any depth you want, whatever you feel like. And sometimes we'll be like, oh no, after this dive you need to do like a 75% of your max or whatever deep dive you did. And it depends as well on which stage you're in during the whole program. It made sense at the end, yeah.
What is your experience with like injury, lung injury specifically? Has that been a theme for you that's happened often, or something that hasn't happened at all? Or
it happened. It was trachea squeezes. It wasn't lungs at all so far. And I know why it happened. It wasn't planned to happen, but like I remember one of the incidents that I was doing a relatively deep CNF dive, and I was training myself not to be touching the line at all. So I was free falling in front of the line, and I'm the person who would close my eyes and just open every once in a while just to check. So at this point, it was a PB dive. And I've been training to do that for about a couple of months. I was pretty confident that my free falling is now parallel to the line. And then I opened my eyes probably like 10-15 meters before I hear the alarms to the bottom, and the line was right there. And then when I heard the alarm, I opened my eyes and it wasn't there. So I tilted a little bit to the right, to the left. I couldn't find it. It's about time that I should be turning. So I kind of like lifted my chest, and I couldn't see the bottom weight. In the blue hole, CNF, relatively deep. So the first thought that came to my mind was like, shit, I forgot to put my lanyard, or something happened to the lanyard. Because I felt I thought I missed the bottom. Right. I thought like I just passed it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, I pulled myself up. Finally, I just grabbed my lanyard and I found myself attached to the line. So I pulled myself up. I didn't swim up. And I got a little bit of a trachea squeeze that time. So it wasn't really so bad. Like I think like 4 or 5 days, and I got back in the water, did shallow dives, tested, everything was fine, and then I repeated the dive a week after.
Okay, good. So you've been like relatively fortunate with your depth progressing quite fast to 100 meters and in a healthy way.
I wouldn't say quite fast. Like it took me 4 years of a lot of trainings, and I'm always here in the hub. Like I'm always in the water, whether I'm not training, then I'm teaching. So I think teaching as well gives you like some kind of a base training.
Yeah, no. Let me take that back. I have a weird sense, like, because when you talk about COVID, I keep thinking like in these 2-year things, whatever. But yeah, you've had much more experience in the water than that. And yeah, of course, what you say is when you're coaching and you're teaching, this is absolutely the best kind of
base training.
Base training, maintaining a fundamental level of diving fitness that we can have, and we're actually lucky to be able to do that. If you want to aspire to be a deep diver as well. What is your plan now? Like, you're gonna train for competition this season?
Yes, I haven't yet decided whether I'm gonna do the World Champs in Cyprus or not yet. So I'm gonna sign up for both of them anyways, the Cyprus one, and there's another one in Sharm in October. I think I'm on the waiting list on the October one for now. I'm on the waiting
list on that one too.
I hope I take your spot.
I hope I take your spot. No, if I heard that I was taking your spot, I would have to give it to you.
Thank you. But yeah, these are the two comps that I think. These are the two comps that I have in mind now. To be honest, like every time I think out loud about the Cyprus one, I think that I'm not really ready for it. And but still, there's part of me that's still thinking and still considering. I need to take a decision within a week or 10 days because, like, if I'm gonna do it, I need to start training as soon as possible.
Yeah. So now we just hit June. Today's June 1st. And when is the comp in Cyprus?
It's I think after 10 days of September. Something like around 8th or 9th, something like that.
3 months.
3 months, exactly, yeah.
So you'd have to sort of start now
to
train for the World Championships. Yeah. So when do you make that decision?
Within the coming week. This coming week. This is my deadline. But the thing is, like, going to Cyprus, you know how it's like the World Champs, like every day is a discipline. And I'm not going to be training the 4 disciplines again ever in my whole life. So I'm going to be training on 1 or 2. Yeah, 2 disciplines max. So, like, I don't know, like, going all the way there just to do 2 dives doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm not on that level yet. Like, I can still do some dives here in Sharm. Sharm, you got 6 dives. So 6 dives is 6 chances of enhancing. I'm going to get the same output here or there. Like, I'm enhancing my numbers, enhancing my rankings, and enjoying. So,
yeah. Tell us about freediving, the scene in Egypt. I mean, among Egyptians for freediving, because there's yourself, and we've got a few other guys around here who are training, maybe not at your level. And it's interesting because if you think about our location here on the Red Sea and the establishment of Dahab as a freediving center for the last 30 years, you would think that there would be maybe more Egyptians involved. Why do you think it wasn't like that, and where do you see the sport going in Egypt and for Egyptians in the future?
Okay, I think it wasn't like there are a lot of people they don't know about the sport. This is like myself, for example. I used to come to Dahab all the time, and I was mainly focusing on scuba, for example, and I had no idea that I would see the free divers, but nobody would tell me how it feels like, or what. I was always wondering, why do we do it? Like, why do we have to go, like, just touch down and go back up? Like, to me, it didn't make sense. So I think that's the main issue. Like, there was a lack of information about the sport and lack of publicity here in Egypt, even though there's a lot of people that would come and do it and just leave, but nobody would try to spread the word about the sport here in Egypt. And basically, me and my fellow instructors, Egyptians, this is our main target now. And there's already more experienced instructors before me that are trying to spread the word, and I'm just joining the same move. I want everybody to know about the sport, and that's what my main target is. I'm targeting Egyptian market within my circles, within different circles, and mainly in Cairo because people here already they know about it. But yeah, now a lot of people, they actually, like, I'm getting a lot of requests and a lot of questions at least about, so how do you do that, or how can I enroll for the first course? So it's getting more and more known now, and there's more instructors, Egyptians as well now than when I started, because when I started it was like mainly here in Dahab, I would say like 3 or 4 Egyptians, and now it's way more.
Yeah, and it's, it got to be also in part thanks to your own diving and your own progress that you now find yourself in a position to help inspire fellow Egyptians to get into the sport and also into the competition scene, right?
Well, that's my pleasure, but I'm part of a
I'm
bigger.
not saying it's just you.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you can have, you know, be in that place to coach and mentor people coming up.
Yes, definitely, it is my pleasure, and this is something that I actually really, really enjoy, like teaching and like inspiring, if you want to call it inspirational, or make him at least just stop and question about yourself and about your life and stuff like that. Because you know how it's freediving like, it makes you doubt everything in life. You get to open some closed doors, or you get to like see life from a different perspective. And yeah, if I manage to do that, or make one person a year just to go through this journey, then I'm happy, and this is what add value to myself as well.
Who would you say? Who do you want to give shout outs to? We've mentioned Gus. Have mentioned the two Daves. You know, who else would you like to give a shout out that has been kind of the most impressive on you? You know, bringing you up as a free diver.
I was lucky here in Dahab. I was surrounded with a lot of very well known.
Well, this is the place.
Yes, I know, but for some odd reason, like I don't know, like I found my way. I found myself within very, very strong divers without even knowing their names at the very beginning. I would sit next to someone like Harry, for example, and I wouldn't know. Like Harry is a very good coach, and lots of conversation would be happening, and I was learning a lot just by listening to people talking about some kind of weird thing called a mouthfeel. I was like, why would you want to do a mouthfeel? Like, I do hands free. Like, I don't understand what is this. But anyways, there's a lot of people to mention. I don't want to start off because I'm gonna forget a lot of people, and it's unfair.
A special thanks to everyone then.
Exactly.
Helped, Khaled get to where he is. But I mean, that's the magic of Dahab, isn't it? The magic of Aquamarina, that you're in this little melting pot of the world's best divers every day. And you know, I had a few students last week, and one of the girls said, so one of the girls was like, yeah, so when like a famous diver comes here, you know, like I bet everyone's like wants to take selfies with them and get autographs and stuff. And I was like, honestly, there's like a world record holder sitting up there in the back, you know, hasn't made a sound since she came in, and there's a 100-meter diver, and you don't get that kind of celebrity vibe.
No, I don't think in the freediving community here anybody is acting like a celebrity. Like, everybody is very, very down to earth. Everybody wants to help everyone else. Here in Dahab, the community of the freediving is like very, very nice, and they're very like all as if in one group.
Yeah, it's quite a nice family.
Yeah.
Tell us about like what you're doing in Dahab. You're teaching, you're coaching. How, you know, where can we find you online, that kind of stuff? Like how do you run courses, etc., etc.?
So I use my platform on Instagram. This is the main thing, and word of mouth is a second, super effective. Like, I make sure that you have a good experience, so that when you go back, you would share whatever you learned in Dahab to your friends, and that's what starts with personal recommendations. I don't use Facebook that much, so it's basically these two platforms to spread the word about the courses. My time here is basically split between teaching and training, and when it comes to teaching, it's split between coaching and teaching courses, and that I really like the diversity. Like, I'm like, there's no chance for me to get bored. Like, I would teach multiple courses, and I would take coaching sessions in between as well, and then after like 3 or 4 months I would stop and just focus on myself to train for 2-3 months as well. And then I would take some time off, of course. I need some time off. And then they go through the cycle again.
So this will be you coming into the time to start focusing on yourself a little bit now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
well,
either...
look forward to seeing you around the Blue Hole.
Yes, you will. And, but actually most of my base training, I do it in the lighthouse. Most of the drills that you want to do and you want to repeat, to me, I believe that the first 40 meters is super important in any other dive. I don't really need to go to the Blue Hole to work on my first 40 meters.
Yeah, for those who are watching or listening, and you know, the Dahab is not just the Blue Hole. Actually, probably most of the diving goes on in the town itself, right on the bay, right on the waterfront, in the downtown essentially. And you have a bay there that's
20, 30, 40, 50 meters.
50 meters, super easy, with communal moorings that everyone is welcome to use. So yeah, I mean, even if you're not coming here for, you can come here and you can You can come here and you can train on a budget really nicely as well, because it's very convenient to just sit in the cafe and then jump in the water. And you have some of the best diving in the world there right now.
Yeah.
I saw an amazing documentary the other day there about researchers in the Red Sea and studying like the sea life and the corals, and trying to figure out why the corals are so much more resilient here in the Red Sea than other parts of the world. It's super fascinating. I'll put a link to it in the description for the YouTube video actually. But we just have such an amazing ocean here.
Yeah.
And today I was having like a bit of a not such good session, so after we finished I took some, I just said, okay, I'm going to hang out in the water for a little bit, pick up some plastic bags or whatever. And I went over the saddle and just hung around at the wall there for a while.
It's very rich.
So insane. And
it's always rich there.
I saw a ray come past, and then I looked up and I saw a huge eagle ray in the distance.
No.
Yeah, it was just me and the eagle ray, and I just followed it through space, and it was really magical. You know, it's
Lucky you.
The ocean here is incredible.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Have you seen eagle rays there before?
Yes, of course. But they're not. They are. Like, they're there, but you don't see them every day.
Yeah. But I mean, how much do we miss when we're on that line, you know?
Yeah. Closing your eyes. Yeah, you'd never know, I guess. That's a very interesting question. Like, you never know.
Yeah. There could be anything around you. When you're especially when you're down 50, 60, 70 meters in the blue hole.
Nah, I don't want to know what's around me there.
Down in there, yeah. What lies in the deep,
Yeah.
I tell you what's down there. A lot of freaking lanyards and neck weights and
watches,
other associated freediving equipment.
Now they sell those on Lazy Dunas.
Yeah. It's like when the luggage gets lost in the flights, they auction everything off.
Exactly.
That's Gary that told me about that. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to meet an athlete at a high level who is representing the sport, representing their country, and trying to bring positive development into the sport and their country.
It's my pleasure.
And we'll be seeing more of you. And I'll be hopefully diving with you a little bit as well, and trying to soak up some of your greatness. So great one. I'm only joking, of course.
I know.
We're all great in our own ways. Let's. I know you're a little bit short for time here, so let's crack on with the desert island questions.
Oh my
I don't know if you remember this little section last time.
I do.
But,
Yeah.
I would like to do it again. So of course you remember all the answers to your questions last time.
No, I
so
don't.
It
That's
super
a problem.
Easy for you to give an even better version of Desert Island questions this time. Yeah, so Desert Island questions, like 10 questions for fun that help us find out a little bit more about you.
It's a whole new level of anxiety now.
Describe for us, Khaled, what is your perfect morning routine? Okay, so that was Desert Island questions. Thank you very much for answering those. You got
Survival. Good.
Yeah, just to wrap up, we have the final and most important question. But if people want to find out more about you, it's going to be coming up on the screen now as well. Your Instagram is
ELGammal.freediving.
Okay, that'll be on the screen.
Yeah.
And do you have a website?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Get a website, man.
Really? Why? Everybody's doing that. So I'm not really big on following what everybody else is doing, but I work on my own.
Yeah, because the Instagram thing and that is good, like when it's going, but with the website you have more professional kind of people look at websites.
Okay.
And more like, I want to see a website if I'm going to look for an instructor, I want to see a website, because I want to see that they've put up there like what their services are and a little bit about their philosophy and stuff like that.
Good point.
And but that's just my thing.
Yeah, and a little bit of bio as well. This is maybe a little bit of interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody would know who they're meeting first.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right, and then finally, to take us out, why do you freedive, Khaled?
Now, why do I freedive? Or how it started again?
In life, why? Why do you do it?
Because it's amazing, man. Tell me one thing that you can do and get all these sensations from. like quietness, stillness, and like meditative state as well. It's amazing. Anybody listening that doesn't freedive, which I doubt, everybody is like on this podcast basically freedive.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If
everybody
you
was
don't freedive, and how you ended up here, we don't know.
but hi, come and
welcome.
freedive. Yeah, welcome. Yeah.
Strength in numbers.
But yeah, why would I ever want this to stop? Like, as long as I'm breathing, I'll be holding my breath and dive.
Amazing. As long as I'm breathing, I'll be holding my breath and diving. Beautiful. Nice to meet you.